Hey there, Bakugan fans! Welcome back to Bakumentary, your go-to show for competitive Bakugan Battle Planet news, gameplay, deck profiles, and more. I'm your host, RoboSensei, and on today's episode, we're going to be profiling what has been one of the strongest decks since the beginning of the game back at Battle Brawlers. This is Haos Titan Nillious. This is a deck I've always wanted to try out. I just never gotten around to it until recently. I know Hunter Surge at the Brawler Cafe has been a big pilot for this deck ever since it came out, basically. He's been playing it a lot up in Canada, winning some games with it. And I would like to bring you today what I think is my version of the deck. Surge uses Aqua's Pyravian, Haos Nillious, and Ventus Pegatrix. And Ventus Pegatrix offers him use to his big Evo that's hitting like 1850 or like 2350 on for a 3-cost Evo. And Nature's Power, which is 1 cost minus 500 non-Ventus. I decided to go the route with using Aqua's Cubbo instead of Pyravian to give me just a bigger base form instead of the 4th Magic Shield. And I use Pyrus Nobilius, which is, again, another one of the 1350 big boys. It's just generic, and also it gives us Pyrus, so that gives us Quickfire and Super Fuel, which are integral to the deck, sort of, if you want to get stuff out early. So let's get into the character cards here first. So, of course, first up we play Aqua's Cubbo over Aqua's Pyravian. It doesn't give us 2 magic shields like Pyravian does, but I do feel like having the bigger base form as well as a little bit more damage, especially damage, which we'll get into later, is rocking for this deck. Again, like I said, as the strategy sort of unfolds as the deck profile goes on, we'll see why I chose to go with Cubbo over Pyravian. So yeah, Magic Shield Flaming Fist, 105. On a Magic Shield or Flaming Fist, you get plus 600, and that turns you into a 705 plus the 650 from the Magic Shield is 1350. So again, he's generic, he's good, best Aquas all around. And then our boss monster, Haos Nillious, core, Magic Shield Flaming Fist again. All 3 of our Bakugan are Magic Shield Flaming Fist. 305, not impressive to start out. We'll get into his Evo later. It gets Big B on Magic Shields, gets to grab extra cores, does a lot of good stuff. And then our third character card, Nobilius Ultra Pyrus, Magic Shield Flaming Fist. 502 plus 200B on Magic Shield or Flaming Fist, so he reaches the same number as Cubbo, so 1350 to 700 plus 650, and he's just good because he offers Pyrus. Okay, so here's our Bakugan here. Nillious is a little interesting because he's a little hollow on the inside, makes him a little bottom heavy, so he's kind of tricky to roll, but it just takes practice for him, I suppose. Moving on to the BakuCores. I might have spoiled the surprise by flipping one over here. So we play 3 Flaming Fists and 3 Magic Shields as our Bakugan allow. First Flaming Fist is a plus 250B plus 3. It's generic, it's good, it's something if you don't have Magic Shields left. And this is where the spice comes in. For our other 2 Flaming Fists, I've decided to play a couple plus 6 damage ratings with no B power gain. And that is because, which we'll get into with our actions, we are playing Might of Syndius. And the lack of the 4th Magic Shield from Pyravian can be compensated for by rolling onto a plus 6 damage Flaming Fist and hitting Might of Syndius for a turn to win off of damage. Cubbo will hit 12 with a Flaming Fist and Might of Syndius. Unevolved, we don't play as Evo. Nillious will hit 12 also on Unevolved on a Might of Syndius with a plus 6. Nobilius only hits 9, but sometimes 9 might be enough. Evolved Nillious can actually get to 19 damage on one of these, plus the Might of Syndius, and that's pretty much an auto win for the turn if I've ever seen one. No surprises for the Magic Shields, however, we play 3 650s because it's literally the only option, pretty much. So not much to talk about there. Moving on, we will get into the cards here of the deck. We have 3 copies of Haos Titan Nillious, which is the build-around card. Haos Evo, 4 energy, 808, and has 2 core effects. First one, on a Magic Shield, you get plus 200B, and you can attach an additional BakuCore from the field 2 Titan Haos Nillious. It says Fang's Lord, that's a misprint. All of them are like that. It's supposed to be Haos Nillious. It also says, on a Flaming Fist, you get plus 4 damage. So 8 plus the 4 there is 12, plus the 6 from the core is 18, plus the 1 from the Midas Indius is 19. So yeah, if you end up losing the Midas Indius turn with 19 damage, then props to your opponent, I guess. The real kicker here is the Blue Shield, Magic Shield ability, plus 200, and you can attach an additional core from the field. Most of the time, you're just gonna grab a Magic Shield, and then, I'm gonna grab another Magic Shield. I got plus 300 because I got plus 1500 because I opened, and now I'm sitting at 2300. So yeah, you can pretty much win off of both stats with this deck, basically. Moving on to our actions, we only play the 3 Evos for Nillious, and that's it. We don't have the space for the other Evos. Kubo, if we had space for it, Kubo Evo would be nice. If it cost 4, Nobilious Evo would be cool, but it costs 5, and it's not worth the cost sometimes. Moving on to our first action, Quickfire, 0 cost. We've been over it before, we're going to go over it again. Make a Pyrus attack for 1 damage, and you can reroll your Bakugan. 2 amazing effects for 0 energy, and that just makes this an auto-include in any Pyrus tech. Rerolls are good. You want to be rerolling Nillious in case you want to go for a different core. You want to reroll to get draws off a Shun, which we'll go over later. And just being able to hit the deck. Empty decked means if you play Quickfire, you win, basically. Don't deck yourself out and lose to Quickfire. 3 copies of Dark Waters. It's another good reroll. We need rerolls. We need B-Boost for 1 energy. Plus 200 B, you may reroll your Bakugan. Again, another on par B plus a reroll for 1 energy. So pretty good here. And again, we play this because it's cheap B, and it's also rerolls for Shun. Another 1 cost, Deep Dive, draw a card, you may reroll your Bakugan. Another 2 great effects for 1 energy. It's kind of necessary in Aquas. Dark Waters is sort of the flexible card in decks. Deep Dive is the non-flexible auto-include, pretty much. Drawing a card is incredibly powerful because most of the time you're going to be needing to get into your setup pieces, and also it makes it so that you don't empty out your hand as quick. Then we play 3 cost of Tides, plus 200B for 1 energy, which is good, but Flow, if this is not the first card you've played this turn, plus 400 instead. This is another just generic auto-include for Aquas, you gotta have it, it's good B, plus 400 for 1 energy. Speaking of auto-includes, we have Super Fuel. We've gone over it before. We're going to keep going over it every time we use it in a deck. 1 energy, you must reroll your Bakugan. If you open on the reroll, the next card you play this turn costs 3 less to play. And that's just a super strong effect. You're going to be dropping Shun for 0. You can play... you can drop Shun on turn 1. You can drop Titan Nillious on turn 2, which is incredibly important. It can be incredibly important. It's not necessary. You get Titan Nillious out on turns earlier than paying it for 4. You can get it out on turn 4 without paying 4 energy. You can pay 2 instead and still have 2 for something like Light's Courage or Blending Ink. And so yeah, it's a super strong card, and also it's a reroll. Reducing cost of cards is insanely powerful in this game, and that is why Super Fuel holds the value that it does, and that's why it holds the place in its decks the way it does. Next up, Blending Ink. We played 3 of these. It's basically stop people, because you have big base forms, except for Unevolved Nillious, but you have big base forms, and most of the time, you might just start the battle ahead. If they play a card and try and get ahead of you, you can just nope that, and now you're still ahead, and they've spent their energy, and you've spent their energy by stopping them. It's basically a card that matches the B gain of whatever action they were going to play, and plus it can sort of net you a turn ahead. If they were going to play, let's say, I guess, Bone Defense and gain 7 energy, and gain 700 B, geez, that'd be insane. If they were going to play Bone Defense and gain 700 B, you basically pay 2 to also sort of net yourself 700 B, I guess. If you want to think of it that way. It's canceling your opponent's action, and that's super strong. Next up, Light's Courage, another auto-include for Haos, basically. Plus 400B, which is on par, and then Domination if your Bakugan hold the most BakuCores, plus 800B instead. That's super strong. That's double curve basically. If one energy equates to 200B or 2 damage, then 2 energy for 800B is double curve basically. Strong card, we play 3 of these. First card here that we play 2 of is Wayne. It's a little bit of a disruption card. It helps in certain matchups. If they depend on their evos, if you've milled a couple of their evos and they play their last one, you can just force them to be in base form for the rest of the game. You can get rid of Dragonoid Maximus if they don't already have the rest of their heroes out. You can get rid of that big 2500B evo. Hopefully they don't jank one out again with Air Zero or Dan. But it's something there. Does have to be in play for a turn. It can't be just an evo that they immediately drop, and it doesn't negate the evo either. So, you might take an L from an evo that turn, but next turn you can just destroy it and make sure they don't have access to it again after their team attack. So we play 2 of those. It's a good little disruption card. It gets rid of some important stuff. It can get rid of opposing Titan Nillious, unless they've already attached their multiple cores. Then they might still be a problem to get over, but we'll just have to see how that plays out in the metagame. And then we play 3 Might of Syndius. This is the really gimmick of my version of the deck, which I think makes this version unique. That's why we play the +6 damage Flaming Fists. It gives you +1 damage, and it says that this turn, the victory is decided by damage rating instead of B power. So if you have a large amount of damage rating, like with Titan Nillious you can reach 19, it doesn't matter how high the opponent's B power is. If you're at 2300 with Nillious and 2 cores, and they're at somehow, like if they're, like let's say they're Maximus Dragonoid and on a Magic Shield, and they have 3150, okay, so you hit Might of Syndius, and then you play a 1-cost reroll, and you go and you hit your +6 Flaming Fist, and now you have 19 damage, and they have, like, not that much, I'm pretty sure. So yeah, I probably could have used a different example than Maximus. But yeah, you have a lot of outs to big damage in this deck. Couple starting at 5, putting him at 11 with the Flaming Fist, and then 12 with the card. Not many Bakugan are going to be going for big damage like that, unless it's other decks that run Might and Mac themselves. We don't play Mac here because I don't think it's necessary. You can win off B a lot of the time. This is just to keep up for when you don't have enough magic shields, or for when you want to take a really big hit. Assuming they don't just top deck a flip afterwards. But yeah, Might of Syndius, I think, deserves a spot in this deck, or at least this version of the deck. 3-cost Wave Slash, generic Aquas auto-include basically, plus 300B. If it's not the first card you've played this turn, plus 1000. Super good. Play your 0-cost into it on turn 3. You can play your 1-cost into it on turn 4. It's amazing. You can pair it with anything basically on turn 5 except another Wave Slash. You can negate something and then into Wave Slash on turn 5 with Blinding Ink. It's just a really strong card. And then, unfortunately, I do not have these yet. Sinkhole, negate an action or negate a hero or action card. 4 energy, Aquas action. You might not be able to tell, but it's supposed to be an Aquas card. Negate a hero or an action card. This is good because it negates actions, first of all, so it doesn't have the energy limitation that Blinding Ink does. You can negate something that's past 3 energy. You can negate a Riptide, or something else that people play that costs 4 more energy. But mainly here, it negates heroes. If you're afraid of a Mac for a turn, and you can't beat out their damage with a Mac, you can slap this down and say, no, that's not your Mac this turn, it goes to the discard pile instead. Or you can negate a Dan, a Winton, or a Leah from Maximus and get that out of the way. You can negate heroes to slow down Mantanoid to stop him from evoing as fast. You can negate heroes if there's a hero deck with Haos Vicerox instead of Mantanoid, so it doesn't get its damage bonus, and you can win off your Might and Mac. So yeah, good card all around. Yeah, getting rid of people's shuns can be impactful. If they're trying to save it until turn 4 and so that they can shun and then play a reroll to draw with shun, you can just say, nope, you don't get that shun, and now they might be, it could easily get you card advantage that way. And then, of course, we play shun. We don't play Strata here because you don't need it to be as fast. We play a lot of rerolls so we can get those out fast. we play Super Fuel, so we can play it on turn 0 or turn 1, so play it for 0 energy. We play a lot of rerolls, so we can keep rerolling, drawing off a Shun, multiples of these stack, and we can just keep rerolling and getting stuff off of that. Again, it's the different. We probably don't want our opponent to be drawing here, and that's why we don't play Strata either. Strata's place in decks as a draw hero is mainly in decks where it's heroes, basically. You need heroes out fast, so you need them to be cheap, and it essentially does the same thing as Shun, with its own upsides and downsides. But here we want to play Shun because it's good. That's all I can really say. You open a Bakugan, you may draw a card, and you can stack that multiple times. You can affect it. You can get multiple Shuns out. You can get multiple draws off the same Shun by rerolling. So yeah. And then of course, lastly but not least, we play 3 copies of Stand Together, the best Haos flip, basically. Stop non-Haos attacks. If your Bakugan are holding the most BakuCores, you may play this for free. Good flips are played for free, or 1 energy, basically. You could, if you really wanted to, fit Confuse in here. Confuse is a 1-cost Haos flip, stop Magic Shield or Flaming Fist, and those are the most popular core types. They're going to be in the most decks. Lots of stuff right now is just Unga Bunga Magic Shield or Unga Bunga Flaming Fist, so maybe having out to that is necessary. But you are going to be getting... I do believe that you're going to be winning early battles so that you can hold the domination for a few turns and then pick up afterwards with the by stopping the attacks. And also you can just pay for it for 4 if you need to. If you just totally hard whiff on turn 4, you can just take the hit and pay for it. It's something to keep in mind that stuff like Pact, Tiger Reflex, and Stand Together, you don't always need the condition. If you have the energy, you have to remember that you can sometimes just pay for it. So yeah. So that is my version of Haos Titan Nillious. I tried some games with Surge's version with the Pyravian and Pegatrix. Pegatrix is huge, and I mean, so yeah, 1600 plus 650, that's 1250. Yeah, that's like almost what Nillious reaches on his own. But I think the support from Pyrus is really strong. We do lose out on Nature's Power, that 1-cost minus 500 being really strong. But I do think that Super Fuel kind of makes up for it. You can get your Nillious out faster. With his version of the deck, you're only getting Nillious out on turn 4, and that's if you have it in hand. Well, of course, if you have it in hand, that's how you're going to play it with any version of the deck. Unless you're playing it with Darkus for Dark Fortune, so you can search the Evo. But that version was sort of drafted and thrown out of the water around the time of Momocon. Nobody really played it like that so far. It's usually either been the Ventus version or the Pyrus version, and I'd like to come to like the Pyrus version a bit more. So yeah, stay tuned next time for more insightful Bakugan content. Hey guys, thanks for watching. I hope you guys enjoy watching these deck profiles as much as I enjoy making them, because I love playing the game, I love building the decks. I have more scripted videos on the way soon, so stay tuned for those. Follow me on Twitter at the RoboSensei, and stay tuned to Bakumentary for more insightful Bakugan content.